Adversity, bring it. The struggle, we welcome it. Snooze on life, never that. We are Dave Regina and Mike Pirelli, and this is the No Snooze Podcast. Come on. Welcome back, No Snooze Podcast, episode 144. As always, I'm in the booth with the big three. Michael, the show Pirelli. Claudio, the voice. Valenzuela, looking like Ebro in the morning back there, man. And I am Dave, the body, Regina. Michael, how the hell are you, my brother?
Well, first off, I look like a goddamn ghost.
I know,
so
me too, man.
Can we add a filter on this? Do you know how to do that? Because yours has a filter.
Yeah.
Whatever's on him, there's a little tan cover. All right, then turn my lights off.
Listen, by the time this airs, I'm going to be in Miami. I'm just calling it now.
Are you going to Miami?
Yeah, why not?
Big
Let's
fight
go.
this weekend.
Let's go. Not this weekend, but I'll go maybe next weekend.
Okay. But I have to say, how do I put this gingerly? Me and Dana stopped by Miami briefly on a trip.
Stop by Miami sounds
Stopped by.
funny.
We drove into
Yeah.
Miami, right? Hung out at the beach, like just people watch. I never felt so fish out of water than I did in Miami.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but I was like, Dave the Chameleon, this is his spot. You know?
Yeah, I have a video. So I used to go to Miami a lot, and nowadays going to Miami is much different because
Business trips now,
Ocean
David?
Drive. Ocean Drive it was cool back years ago. Now you don't really go to Miami to go like on Ocean Drive. Maybe you stop by, grab a wet willy, and then you're out of there. But there's a lot of activity that goes on that you just don't really want to be associated with now that you're a young business professional, right?
Okay.
But one of my times in Miami, I have a video back probably 2015, 16. There was this dude that was clearly on bath salts. You remember when they were eating people in Miami?
Yes.
There was like a serious like wave of this where they were like literally eating other humans.
The zombie apocalypse.
Yes, it was like a zombie thing, right? My man he had lights from a Christmas tree wrapped around his entire body.
Yeah.
And he was literally in the water, like acting like he was just like eating himself. And I have it on video. No, I swear to God. And that was one of my funniest memories and I'm like recording him and I put a funny song in the background, but I'm like, what is this? And people really take these drugs and you look at what you're doing to your life. Sad stuff, man.
Exhibit A. That's why I'll avoid Miami for a little bit.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
In other news though, man, we had a nice little outing,
We had the nicest date.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Bro date.
Oh, funny.
I
I didn't get the invite. My bad.
You did, but
Someone was traveling.
We specifically didn't go to
The
Jamie's
spot.
because you weren't there. CV.
He was here when we were discussing that.
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
Right? You were?
Yeah.
How was Dinosaur Barbecue, your
Yeah,
authentic
yeah.
experience? We're going to get to
We
it.
actually did not go, but thank you. Very
Oh,
much.
okay, good. Mike talked him out of
Good.
it.
Better off. Starting off at the cigar lounge. What do you call it? Lounge club?
Yeah, lounge. Cigar lounge.
Dave strategically gets his seat right in the front, right? Like, so you come into this room. Have you been to the cigar lounge, CV? What a treat. So you come in, you pick a cigar. Dave knows everyone, obviously. And then he parks us right in the first set of recliners, nice leather recliners. My back's to the entry door, and then Dave is kind of adjacent, right?
Yes, yeah.
So as people are walking in, this guy's the first one that people see. Everyone, I'm not exaggerating, literally everyone paid the respects to the Don Corleone. And then he was like, this is my friend Mike. And I like shook everyone's hand. I never felt more like a politician.
There was an American flag next to us too, right? Did you notice that?
I didn't see
there
that.
was a flagpole right next to us.
Was it really?
Yeah.
So it was like the closest I've ever experienced to be with a president.
I'm dead.
Yeah. But a great experience.
Good
the
time,
crew
right?
in there,
Yeah.
like I was noticing people were skipping as they were coming in. Like, so it put us in a good mood. It was a great little appetizer.
Yep.
They give you a nice thing of chocolate to have with your cigars. He brought a nice, what was it, Macallan we had?
No, we did lower end. We did Basil Hayden.
Basil Hayden's nice though.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
He's poo-pooing all my stuff, all the average people.
No. But Macallan these days is expensive, man. I mean, that's like a $70, $80 scotch. Whereas Basil Hayden, I love the flavor notes.
I thought it was delicious.
on it. It's like $50, so it's nice.
Sometimes stuff tastes better when you know you didn't break the bank.
Yes.
Sometimes you can't really enjoy it when it is expensive because
Right.
then you like spill and you're like, ooh, there goes
Ooh,
$20.
By the way, Michael, he fit right in though. absolutely right in.
Those
But
are my guys.
my man had 4 ashes
oh,
that all dropped on his chest every single
Yep.
time
Yep.
that that you're supposed to ash it. But you know,
know
a
why though,
natural
right?
smoker,
You
a
know
natural
why
smoker,
though. You know why though, right?
Why what?
Because remember what you taught me. You said, listen, the real guys,
they just let it fall.
they don't care
They just let it
because
fall.
they're above saving their clothes. They're enjoying the cigar is priority.
Yes.
And I ever since that day I was like, it makes me more legit.
And it doesn't burn your clothes, which is odd.
Sometimes.
It's ash.
But it's not hot though.
Well, it's
Well,
only
if
the
it falls
clothes.
off. I learned this, CV. If it falls off, that means it's all burnt
Yes.
off.
Right.
Correct.
So it's not hot. It's no amber.
Sometimes though, if it goes around it, it'll
Right.
pull off something that's actually an amber.
A little amber.
Rarely.
Ember, not an amber.
Amber.
Ember.
Yeah.
Ember.
Amber. Tomato. you
Yeah,
know.
exactly. There you go.
What a callback.
There you go.
Listen,
Callback.
for the
Verbatim.
couple true fans we have, they must be enjoying these callbacks
Oh,
because we are
absolutely.
on our game lately.
There was another one that I heard. I didn't say it, but somebody else did. They said a vicinity instead of a vicinity. And I was like,
English, tough.
I know,
Yeah.
but I can see how that can get misconstrued.
You maybe Chris Salva. A couple people I criticize their English.
Mm.
Perfect example. I'm not great though, but I do love to jump in and be like, "That's not it."
That's not it.
You know,
that's
not
not it.
So yeah, I mean, the Cigar Lounge, great way to start
Right.
Never did that with you with like as an app. Usually we just post up there and we
Yes.
stay, or it's at the house.
Yep.
You know, the post dinner cigar, the evening cigar.
Mhm.
But I kind of like the way it prepped you for the day. You told me bring an extra shirt. So I was planned out. I brought my extra shirt. Also in business casual.
Yep.
Going to a Gigantes after,
Yes.
which I'm learning now is the spot. You told me while we were there, but everyone that saw our post kept asking, like, oh, you guys were at Gigantes. This is the
Yes.
spot, huh? So
They
I
know
didn't
the
know it
deal.
had the following.
Yes. Yeah, it's a great upscale, but like it's not too overpriced.
It's kind of a
but
crossover.
It's classy. When we walked in, you were like, this is like a Miami vibe, right?
Yep.
Like it's very
Here,
very
it's funny,
elegant.
right? Let
Very
me give you
elegant
credit.
style.
You are like the ambassador for me for places I would otherwise feel at a place. And when I'm with you or meeting you at a place, I'm like, it's fine. I'm with Dave. Does that make sense?
There were no minks involved though. I made sure of that.
Well, even then, I feel fine because I know it's you and I know that you're like somehow involved, a mayor, whatever you want to call it.
Yo, this
So,
guy.
like Don Coquille, when we went that
Yes.
one
Oh,
time,
yeah.
I walked in, boat shoes and Don Coquille's never been done. Never been done. Breaking all types of stereotypes
That's
there.
right.
And people are like, look at this guy. Right. But I knew I caught eyes when we walked in, big smile on my face. I said, my guy's
My
here.
guy's here.
So I'm safe.
Good, man. You know, and then the food at Gigantes is just top notch.
I have to say, though, I have to give us credit. We ordered probably the perfect lineup of food.
Yes.
Wasn't too much, little gluttonous at the end, but starting off with the seafood
Yes.
and only having one real fried item, which is the calamad, which you got to get.
Yep.
And then the baked clams are some of my favorite things on any menu. And it had the combination where it was a little crispy, but it also had the what's the term? The juices, the scooge or whatever people call
The
it.
Scooge.
I don't know if that's
Scooge.
right. My parents say that. So to start with that, and then oysters.
Those were honestly, I
You
think,
realize what we did, right? We had fresh, we had fried,
Yep.
and then we had like a baked.
Right.
Unbelievable.
It was perfect. It really was. And I was surprised because typically I'm not a humongous seafood guy,
really.
but that, yeah, I mean, you know, I just started eating oysters. Remember when we went down to Jersey, or maybe we were up in, even for Frank's wedding. Like, there's been many times that we're around. You guys are crushing oysters,
Love 'em.
and I'm just like, can I try one? And then
Yeah.
I'm like, "Ugh, I
Yeah.
don't like it, you know. But now I finally have gotten into it. I
Mm.
figured it's my tactic here, my old tactic that didn't work is I used to sit there and torture myself and chew it. And then
Yeah,
you're like
that's not-
chewing it, and
that's
that's
not
not it. That is not
not it.
it. 100%. So now what I do is I put it in my mouth. I do take one like kind of bite to get all of the flavors of the what is it, the horseradish in there?
Yeah,
Is it horseradish?
You don't have to bite it.
Is it
though.
horseradish?
Horseradish,
Yeah.
a little cocktail sauce,
Right. So
lemon, hot sauce,
Tabasco,
whatever.
right.
So
So I
you
get,
know the tongue is where all the salivary glands are. That's where you taste everything. You don't have to
right.
bite.
No, that's true.
Then
but
you get the nasty like little
I don't know. I like it though, because I get like this. I don't know.
It's a
just-
ritual.
It is, yeah. So
Ritual.
it's like one on the right side and then a swallow, boom. But it just that one was super. They were super sweet
Yeah,
oysters, right?
very
And
good.
apparently you have the West Coast oysters, the East Coast. But it was delicious.
First
It really
off,
was.
let's set the stage. We walk in,
Yeah.
big gentleman who's our waiter.
Yeah.
See, like one of the guys, right? Like it's like if your friend was waiting on you at your
Yes.
house, hospitality through and through. What would you guys like to start with? Dirty martinis. Right off the bat, people thought we were dating.
Yes.
So we were like, let's lean into this, and we shared everything. We started off
One
with
fork.
one fork. Yeah. I was feeding him; he was
Yeah.
feeding me. We were gonna Lady in the Tramp it, but we didn't have
Yeah.
spaghetti.
Never see. Is that a movie?
Oh my
Wow. Well, I'd be Lady, you'd be
You
the
be the
Tramp.
tramp? Oh, okay.
And then, yeah, I mean, I'm guilty. When there's a steak on the menu, right, and it's either a tomahawk or like a nice porterhouse, you got it. Anything
Ooh.
bone in,
Straight Tommy.
got to. And
We
the
did.
tomahawk is so extravagant, and it's so the pageantry of a tomahawk is
I-
what I'm made for.
Do you do the math? So I did the math. I saw that it was a
What?
30. I think it was a 36 or 38 ounce steak.
Okay,
But then I saw that, for that price, I think it was like 160, which isn't horrible for.
he's a savant when
uh,
it comes to protein breakdowns.
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, 100%.
unbelievable.
But so I'm doing the math, and I'm like, okay, well, if we're gonna split this, I'm like, well, out of that 38 ounces, like, how much is fat? Is it all edible? But typically on a tomahawk, they cut it nice, and it's all edible
Yeah,
meat.
yeah.
But then you had the 16 ounce T-bone option or the porterhouse option.
Yep, porterhouse.
But 16 and 16 was only 32 ounces. So I'm like, we're going to typically pay the same amount.
Yeah.
Let's go for the more protein and let's get the Tommy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, the bone is phenomenal.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was my favorite part. I mean,
Kids gnawing
chicken
on
wings.
it, gnawing on it. And then you were so. How do you like your steaks cooked when you go out?
honestly, I don't ever order medium rare anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I don't because I think I eat steak too often to where if I was eating medium rare steaks,
Yeah,
something about the actual redness of the meat
would get you.
is not good for my stomach.
See, my game plan is, and what we kind of did there, I said like whatever the chef recommends.
Yeah, which is
Usually,
obviously medium rare.
It's going to be a medium rare.
Yeah,
But some with the plate, which I've learned, you can heat it up. So if it's a little rare, you
you
can.
can face it down.
It's pretty
boom.
cool. You
That,
would leave it in the oil and the butter,
that was the move. I think it would have been
but
considered.
they cooked it perfectly.
Well, we ordered medium rare.
and they cooked it more,
I think it was a little over
Yeah.
because I kind of,
but it was perfect.
He knew that I didn't want a red steak, so he was like, I can't.
He looked at his options and he said, "Am I going to upset the little guy or the big guy with tattoos and muscles and a beard?" And he made a business decision.
Yeah. No, very good. I mean, the service was great, and then dessert, we went hard. I mean, dessert was we did 2 full desserts.
Yeah,
right?
do you remember what the guy said to me? I ordered the jumbo cookie,
And
and
what'd he say?
he brought it out, and a couple drinks. I was like, "Whoa, that's big." He goes, "It's not called the jumbo cookie for nothing." Like he was like
That was good.
confused.
My favorite part was after we finished the first tomahawk, he comes back and he's like, "You want me to put the second tomahawk in?" And we were like, "Oh,
Did you think about it?
I kind of did.
I didn't think about it.
I could do a little bit. But we got the shout out. What's her name? Gianna.
Yes.
Baked After Midnight.
Yeah.
She is. I don't know how she got in there, but she runs her own, dessert business that's absolutely thriving, and she is on the menu at Gigante's.
Yeah.
So there's two items. One was the actual cookie that we got,
A la mode.
a la mode. Yes, delicious. But I think that you said they like heated it up too much.
I didn't say
Made it
that.
a little
Don't-
crispy,
Don't
right?
get me in trouble.
Made it a little too crispy.
Gigantes likes
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
I'm
And then we got the cheesecake.
yeah, can't
right?
go wrong with cheesecake.
Oof. What a good order.
It was great. A great evening. Good order. Good drinks.
Right.
You had an espresso martini, like a
Yeah.
Thavage. You
Like
watch
11 o'clock
C-Bomb?
in-
Yeah, you watch C-Bomb? He has a whole brand called Thavage because he's
Call
got a
Thavage,
list.
Yes.
Talk about leaning into your
Mike Tyson.
No, no, no.
Yeah, that's true too.
great night.
Yeah,
Thank you
man.
for treating me.
Yeah.
And he
of course.
foot the bill. No, we went Dutch.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard you heard that term, right? Going
No,
Dutch?
no.
Where you split the bill?
No,
You never
never
done
have.
that? Yeah.
no,
All right. It's funny. It's a
That's
funny term.
that was good. So
Going
yeah, the next
Dutch.
one we have to go to Jamie's. 3 of us. All right.
I'm
Any-
down.
Any of the listeners, if they want to join us, let us know.
I was a little
I
hesitant.
just need an invite. Got you guys.
yeah,
be there.
Yeah, shout out.
I'll be there.
How would you
I'll
put
check my mail.
Nick's steak? Like,
Why you keep saying Nick's? It's Jamie's.
oh yeah, why I keep saying Nick's?
But he's been doing this
Hey.
over and over. And like,
Hey.
who is Nick?
Hey, take it easy, all right?
But it's not even close.
I'm
Like,
just
Jamie,
meeting these
Nick.
gentlemen. Okay, you introduced me to half of friggin' your cigar lounge. I'm still trying to figure out people's names. This is it. This is it. He does this. He does. I'm like, Miguel, how are you? What's the name of it? Jamie's?
Jamie's, yes.
He gets mad. I
Jamie's.
like it. Now I'm doing it on purpose. Jamie's steak.
Yeah.
Is it like legit?
I've never had it. I never had it.
You're bringing us to this place to have steaks, right?
No.
And you've never had it?
I didn't say that. I
What
said
did you
it's
say?
Jamie's Cigar and Restaurant, right?
Restaurant.
So, the restaurant. So what I have had, which I love, are the lamb chops.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like lamb lollipops, pretty much. There's like 10 of them. And it's
You hear me?
delicious.
Yes, I
Yeah,
love lamb
lollipops.
Guys, I'm a little jelly. I'm not gonna lie. I am starving right now, and you
I
guys are
know,
talking
it
about
does sound good. This
deliciousness.
does sound good.
Holy.
So I've had that. I've had some of their mussels over there. Their food is good, but
You
I
would
have
a lot of their muscles.
I know, that's right. I have not had their steak. So maybe we go and we try that.
Okay.
But it's a
Are they known for their steak?
I don't know. I just know that there's not many places that you can go in there and smoke while you eat. So it's like a vintage 1970s.
It's
vibe.
awesome. It's awesome.
Just it's incredible. You know?
Just so you guys know, when Bar Miguel eventually opens up, you
know,
can
smoking?
smoke and eat
Okay,
there.
all right,
Yeah.
good. I
No,
like
it's
that.
smoking approved after a certain hour, right?
Yeah.
You got to make sure the kids. and-
Exactly. CV, let them know where we get this protein at.
We wanted to take a quick second to let you guys know that we partnered with our good friends over at Orgain.com. We're happy to offer our listeners 30% off by entering the code NOSNOOZE30. Again, that's NOSNOOZE30 for 30% off your first order. If you're on the market for a new protein powder, nutritional shake, protein bar, or Mike's favorite, collagen peptides, Orgain is your one-stop shop. As all of you know, my Crohn's disease is currently in remission, and the only protein I use is from Orgain. My personal favorites are the chocolate peanut butter and the vanilla bean. With the code, you can try a 2-pound tub for under $20. Talk about not snoozing. Go get yours today. Now, back to the Epi.
All right, cool. So today's topic, we are going to Michael. I asked Michael, I said, listen, Mike, any topic ideas? He threw 97 at me.
Well, we're being transparent on here. For me, it's hard because it all melds together. Like every time we talk about things, they all overlap.
Yes.
Do you
yes.
see that?
Yes, 100%.
You understand that, right?
Absolutely.
And at some point, we've touched on everything.
Yes, absolutely.
We're 144
44.
episodes in. If you listen to all of them, nosnoozeshop.com to like, subscribe, follow.
Your English
whatever
is
the
good.
term
Top notch today.
is. Yeah, yeah.
Too much caffeine. That's what happens.
But yeah, it's topics are tough.
Yeah, no, they are. They are. So
And then he hits me with, can you give me some context? No, Dave, it's a topic. Run with it.
Just go. Just run. So we've touched on, the topic of change before, and we've spoke about implementing real change. But today, specifically, we said how to make change sustainable, right? So that basically is something that I think we can apply to our lives in any facet, personal, professional. When you make change in your life, the goal is to sustain that change if it's a positive one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And why did you come up with this
Because it's
topic?
hard.
It is
'Cause,
hard.
You work so hard, you get in shape, you have all these great habits, and then life happens.
Yep.
You couple of kids later, and all of a sudden I don't recognize myself in the mirror. I look in and I go, who's that? Who's that with the extra 20?
Yep.
You know? With the extra meat on the cheeks. Who is that?
that?
And Livy yesterday, we were joking around. I'm like, Liv, your belly's getting big, like joking around. She looks at me, Daddy, your belly's getting big. And I'm like, you're right. You're right.
You're right.
So, yeah, that's part of it. There's things I implement, and again, there's extenuating circumstances, but
Mhm.
like selling primarily in Greenwich.
Yep.
In theory, great. I stuck to it for a long time, maybe to a fault, and then now I'm backing down on it because I'm just trying to get by. And I'm like, listen, I can't be turning down all these opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
The market's tight. You got to survive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's this like I'm implementing this stuff. It's going decent.
Yep.
And then you got to kind of backtrack. And it's not bad to backtrack, but it's a little frustrating.
Yep. No, I get it.
You heard?
Yeah, I heard you. I think the first thing though that came to my mind always when it's like this, one, I really in my head, this is tough because this is where I sound like an a-hole.
Oh,
And it's
give
like,
it
well,
to
if you
me.
want to change, stop being soft.
Hold on.
you know.
Can I put the robot
This is
on?
good.
Little
Change your life. Change your life and let's move on.
In theory, yes, I get
but
it.
I know, right? But it's hard. But what's up, Stevie? Go ahead.
No, I want you to go because I'm gonna put the little robot. So go ahead, you can speak.
No,
No, this is different because I'd like to think about these things
as they kind of pertain to my own life. And there was a little financial piece that I remember for Callie like figuring out when she was first born. I'm like, you know what? I would like to, when she's 16 years old, just be able to literally give her money to buy a car, right? And honestly, I'll make her work for it over time. But it was just something that I'm like, listen, I want to take that responsibility on. So the concept, though, is in any level of change is really the same. It's thinking big, but then acting really small. Right. So with the financial piece, what I did was I did some math and I'm like, all right, I think $8,000 would be, okay to, because I don't want her in a brand new BMW. I want her to know, like, listen, you're buying a used car. You're working for this. So I just figured in my head, and I could be way off down the line because obviously if things change and the car market goes through the roof, whatever. But I'm thinking like, you know what, maybe a used Honda or some.
Maybe a red GMC that has a dent in the front.
There you go. But I just figured a number of 8,000. How cool would it be if I was 16 and I kind of received that? I'd be like, all right, cool.
Pretty cool.
So I have this coin change like piggy bank thing, but it's an old school, or it's a 5-gallon water tub.
Yeah.
Right?
My aunt had that.
There you go. And I just did like $10 a week on a calculator. I said, well, that's
in change or cash?
Cash.
But that's telling people this.
That's
Guys,
for.
I'm so excited. I'm about to give you my proud moment, but I want you to finish.
Okay.
I'm like, urging.
That's that's $40. I with your godson, right? Yeah.
Goddaughter, yeah.
So that's $40 a month, right? Now $40 a month times 12 is what? 400.
I'm out. 480.
480, right? So 480 to get to the $8,000. You're talking about 16 years of that, but only for $10. Now, if I have more, I put a 20, whatever. So once I figured that out, I'm like, to accomplish this goal of something that, yes, is $8,000 over the 16 years, not a lot of money, but I wanted it to not really affect my life in any way, right? So you think big and then you act really, really small and the goal can be accomplished, right? So that's a little financial example of something that I've been recently doing that is applicable, that you get overwhelmed, even a weight loss goal, right? A lot of us get overwhelmed and you're like, oh, damn, I got to lose 30 pounds. And cool, think that way for a second, but like, what's the one little thing that you can do and sustain that over time, right? CV, tell us about your godson though.
Oh, I'm excited. So it's my goddaughter.
Goddaughter, sorry.
Can we put the screen on you for this? Because you got this beautiful mic camera. You're not using it. I'll use it.
So no, what you just said, I did exactly with her. When she was born, I asked my boy to give me, her birth certificate, and I actually opened up an account for her that's linked to my account.
I like that.
And it's a type of account that you can then give to her when she turns 18.
Yep.
And every paycheck I put in an amount, and it's been consistent like that since she was born. She's now.
You're making us look bad. I got a couple.
Well, I mean, honestly, I didn't know what to do, and I'm not. I also started noticing that she has a big family, and Christmases and birthdays, she gets everything. Like, there's so much family that what can I give you? Like, and I do still get her presents,
right?
But it's like, I don't really spend too much thinking about what it is because she's getting everything from everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been kind of working at this little thing that now, and she's 10 years old, I think. Oh, let me not sit. I need to cut that out in case it's wrong. But there's about like $5,000 or $6,000 in the account, which is awesome. And I'm kind of going towards what you're saying, going, hoping that when she gets to 18, there's a nice substantial amount, whether it's for driving and hopefully for nothing dumb.
Yep.
But something like that she has a little bit of a pot, because I thought the same exact thing.
Yeah.
How awesome would it be when I get to 18, somebody give me that? I didn't have that.
Do you know? Does she know that you're doing this?
No, no.
Does she listen to No?
The parents
hopefully
know.
she doesn't listen to the pod.
No, not yet. She'll be surprised.
No, I'll ruin it.
That's
when
one
she
of those
does it.
gifts too that like, when you get to that point, like that day's gonna be really
yes, that's gonna be huge.
Yeah, it's gonna be so awesome.
And she's
so
like,
excited,
what?
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest, in the beginning, I remember when it was like
I gotta call my godparents.
in like the low dollars. I was like, oh man, what's going on? Why did it look so low? And now, like after a few years, it looks like pretty nice. It's like I said, like $6,000.
Is it
This
high
is
interest
awesome.
account too?
By the way, when I have more children, I want you to be the godfather. Just letting you know. Right?
Yeah, you're getting chosen.
you're good. You're chosen.
I only have one, so it's easy.
You're the chosen one.
The more
man.
children, the percentages start going down.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna start calling my godparents and be like, guys, I'm 32.
Right.
Like
32 times
18
10
was 14 years ago. Like, what do we? You got any accounts? I don't know.
Right.
But that's making me look. I might have to do. I actually love that approach because I agree with you. People do waste. It's not wasteful, but there's like time is the biggest thing for money.
Yeah.
So it's like if you could do it proactively, it's so much less effort. To both your points, doing it now.
Right. So I just wanted to set the stage with that. But, the thing that is frustrating about change is when I really want to change and I kind of implement something into my life, then I become like obsessed and I'm never really fulfilled until I believe that like real results are happening. Right. And that's the extreme ownership type of negative thing that I think comes when you're trying to change something, because, you know, even with working out, I really feel like I haven't made it. You know, it's just something like I believe that I haven't arrived yet, in David Goggins terms, right? Like you just never arrive. And it's something that you got to keep sustaining over your lifestyle. Cool. You've done it for, 15 years now. Well, bravo. But like if you stop, but if you stop now and you never work out again, is it really that good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
15 years
no,
good.
man, no.
Good.
I think, a big concept too with change is I think it's a fact that change fails more often than not, right? I think successful change begins with what's a good word here? Clarity of purpose, and not purpose meaning like bigger whys, but your own fulfillment and process. And then I think it ends with what we always talk about with discipline and consistency. But there needs to be a level of attachment for you personally to really begin to make change, right?
My issue, I agree with you. I kind of get obsessed too, but it pulls me away from other things that I keep together, right? So like, I'm trying to get a good example here. Real estate. If I'm changing something over there and I'm really focusing on it, it pulls me away from a fitness goal.
Yep.
Or if I have like the 10% challenge, like last year, I can't stop thinking about it. Everything revolves around doing that.
Yes.
And then my real estate suffers a little bit.
Yep.
So it's like trying not to get upset. For me, the biggest thing that I'm trying to do this year is not have to be obsessed with something to be able to do it successfully.
Gotcha.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So like I've never been able to maintain kind of a healthy lifestyle, which is reflected in the physical sense, just like cardio sense, without being all in.
Right.
Yep.
I think as humans though, and I'm sure you guys can relate to this, we tend to talk a lot. And, the cycle is like, we'll make a few decisions and then we'll be like, all right, I'm going to implement, this new rule, or like, maybe this is a new process that I'm going to try. And none of that actually guarantees anything, because real change only happens when we personally change our actual behaviors. So the talk is good, but I think step one is that the desired behaviors of what you want to be have to be clearly identified, right? So for me in my relationships in general, and we've spoke about this, but I used to be like just a hothead, like I would think it was almost cool to get triggered and like, kind of whether you snap or you say something nasty. And it wasn't until like I really hurt people in my life that I then realized, maybe my upbringing wasn't as normal as I thought it was. And other people and other families don't operate like this, right? So just because my normal was one way doesn't mean that that's everybody's normal, or is it appropriate? Like I came up in an environment where you do something wrong, you apologize, and then by the next day we're on. Whereas a lot of people process things differently, right? But the behavior needed to be clearly identified by me to say, yo, I don't want to be that dude anymore, and it's not until you have that clarity in something that you can really make the change. Because at the end of the day, I mean, you could lose that girlfriend or boyfriend that you've been with for 5 years. You could lose your spouse. You could lose, a relationship with your brother, your mother, your boss. And that's just one example I think that I'm thinking about. But it's clarity of the actual behavior versus just talking like, nonsense to yourself. Yeah, I'm gonna change.
While you're talking, I'm thinking through my psyche of the whole like implementing change. I'm guilty of, because I have the long-term view on a lot of things, giving myself a break, because I'm like, well, this is only, a short time. When am I ever going to have 2 kids under the age of 3, right? And I give myself an out. And then I'm like, yeah, once they start sleeping, I'll start being consistent again. Yep. And then you realize 2.5 years later, you're like, they might never sleep.
I'm still tired.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, part of it's accepting the new reality, and that previous systems that worked aren't working anymore.
Yes.
And not holding on to those and trying to do the same thing in a new reality, which has been my issue, because when something works, I'm like, this is the way I do it. This is the way it works. But then when something changes, I don't adjust. And then I end up losing it anyway, because I try to do the previous thing in the new reality, you know?
Gotcha. Yes.
And part of me goes back and forth. Like, I don't know if you ever struggle with this where you're like, is it my circumstance right now? Am I giving myself an out? Do I deserve to take a little break? Like, is this normal? All right, it's not normal, but like, this isn't going to last forever. So is it my lack of discipline, or is it my circumstance in this situation? You know what I mean? Like,
Oof. That's tough.
do you beat yourself up and say, wow, like I haven't slept
Yeah, bang your head.
and I'm going to work out.
Absolutely.
But then you're like, I'd rather sleep because
Right.
like,
yeah, 100%.
and I know there's no clear answer, but that's what I struggle with is you say David Goggins or the Dave approach, where it's like, you're soft, just do it. But then I'm like, that's counterproductive because then I'm going to get sick.
Right. But I do think that I have a personal answer to this, right? And I think it's
I'm trying to figure it
trying
out.
to look for good terminology, but
I don't have a gauge
Yeah.
on my level yet. Like, you know how
Yep.
people have a self-awareness there? I don't know it yet.
right, but I think you have to resist the urge to tweak the behavior until you're an actual expert.
Yeah.
Now, don't take that too literal, though,
Yeah.
because I believe that personal setbacks, temporary situations should not be an excuse to go back to an old routine, right? So I think for example, so if you're resisting the urge to tweak or like you're going to fold because something's going on and you're working out, is very easy, right? To give that example. But like, it's okay to not work out for a day, right? But then you have that personal rule that you're like, I'm not going to not work out for 2 days unless there's a life-changing circumstance.
Yeah.
Now, instead of you just not working out anytime something goes bad in your life, I think you can tweak the actual workout itself. So the intensity level, and I've spoke about this many times, the intensity level doesn't always have to be at 100, but the intensity level should be as high as you can possibly go for the day.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us go wrong because you end up quitting on things before we're an actual expert. I've been working out 15 years. I do feel like I'm an expert in the field, but me personally, I'm like, I know that I have to continue this. And every day I still have to show up and give something. I can't just lean on an excuse to say, oh, wow, I didn't sleep great today, or, I got a lot going on in my life. I got this, I got that. So I think it's resisting the urge to tweak until you are an actual expert in the field, but that doesn't mean that you have to go hard all the time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a balance, right?
Yeah.
I have a confession to make.
What a great transition.
Oh my god!
He's like, I haven't worked out in 3 days.
It's more than that.
Wow.
So it's been a struggle. So you guys know I went to the college tour.
Mhm.
There were some shenanigans that took place that did not allow me to sleep, and did not allow me to sleep. I wasn't allowed to work. Well, I shouldn't say allowed. I couldn't physically wake up to workout. So I didn't work out for those 4 days. Came home exhausted. Said, all right, I'm going to get back on it. Monday came around. I was physically shot, but I said, let me get on. So I got on. It was a very reduced workout. Not the greatest, but I got on.
Mhm.
It was a little bit of a sweat that trickled, but it was a very short one. And I had, I have another week that's pretty kind of my schedule is early, so it's not an easy one either. Got the whatever, the half workout in 20 minutes or whatever it was. Got off today, woke exhausted. When I tell you exhausted, last night I passed out at like 10 o'clock. Like, and that's not me. I can stay
That's
up to
late.
at least 8, 11, 11:30. I couldn't even, my phone died because I couldn't even put it on the charger because I just fell asleep. That's how bad it was. Woke up this morning at like 7, still tired. Like, that was not enough sleep. And for me, that's not normal. I can 6 to 7 hours, I can wake up and I'm kind of good. So again, today it did not work out.
I think you overslept, bro. I think your body. If you just got 9,
Well, I'm trying to get my hours.
you went from
back
11
in.
to 7.
From 11
That's 8
to
hours?
7. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you didn't sleep 2 days in a row,
Yeah, it's been like, I mean,
it takes
so
your
the
body
4
a little time
days,
to
6
adjust.
the 4
man,
days I was
I'm good.
on
I used to be, not anymore.
the 4 days that I was on the tour,
Yeah.
I probably slept an average of like 4 hours.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. So you're stringing.
and that was 4 days in a row. Then when I
Yeah.
came home, I was able to sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
But it's like I keep waking
That was the
up
last 2
tired,
years
you know.
for me.
Right.
I'm thinking that hopefully by tomorrow, because now it's been 2 days of good sleep,
You're catching up.
tomorrow,
Your
hopefully I'm gonna
body's
wake
like-
up and gonna be okay to do it. My
Yeah.
intention is to get back on it.
Yeah.
But it's been like, and I know I can feel it. another day not working out,
Yeah.
another day, but it's like I physically don't
It
want to.
stresses you out, right?
Yeah, man, because I'm like, I gotta do it,
Yeah.
So tomorrow I'm hoping to be able to report that I did do it.
There you go.
Yeah.
But it's been a rough one, so I just wanted to confess that so it doesn't come out later
All right,
on.
good.
You're
Right.
forgiven. Is he forgiven?
Yeah,
You're the
yeah,
priest
he's
here.
Definitely not. He's lying through the camera.
He's
I'm out.
soft.
Yeah, there you go. See, I'm out.
Yeah, it's hard. It's mentally I struggle with it because I know, how do I put this? If I focused on one aspect of anything, I'd crush all of it. But I can't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a father. I'm starting a business. I'm trying to keep my body decent. There's these things that they at different times need more focus.
100%.
So when I bounce around, sometimes I'm like, you know what? The extremism of that, what I'm talking about, is what I'm trying to figure out. Where
Yes.
instead of being like, I'm going to focus on this and get this ripping and then come back to this, is like, keep this, plate spinning
Mm-hmm.
and then work on this maybe 70% more. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Whereas I would go 100, drop everything else, not worry about a diet, and just be like, all right, goal, get the company going. F everything else. Don't worry about sleeping. Like, it's good. Go all in on this, where it's not sustainable. So now I'm realizing as I have all these things going on, I'm like, there's a balance that I got to figure out, because dropping everything and doing one thing, working crazy hours and whatnot, it's just not.
That's not it.
It's not sustainable. It's not
not
it.
it. Just
So-
not it.
It's a hard lesson to learn, because I kind of have conditioned myself through my life of like, all right, well, you have an exam tomorrow. You're just going to cram, knock out the exam, go to the next thing. And it still works. Like, I had to take a test for my commercial education stuff for real estate. I studied for one night, knocked it out, and I was like, all right, I didn't do what I was supposed to do otherwise, but I did everything I need for this. Did it. Now next thing.
See, and I don't think that's a sustainable way for me, the way my brain works personally. Like, I try to, and I know you do too,
That's
but
how my brain works, though.
I know, and that's where it's different. But I try to look at my life as like a pie,
Yeah.
and like there's certain things that fit into that pie, and you have your main players of, your father piece of the pie, your relationship piece of the pie, your professional piece of the pie. Like, those are your main,
I'm getting hungry.
I know. Those are your main, like, slices, if you will, right? Then you like have all these other things. You got like vacation 5%, going out with the friends 5%. Like, you have these other things, but the main pieces of the pie I like to prepare for.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I just go all in on one, it takes away from the others.
So my brain kind of works in projects now, because like our house was coming on for rent.
Mhm.
So in my head, I'm like, all right, I'm putting it on Sunday, or I'm putting it on Thursday night. So I'm gonna stay up late, put it on Thursday, prep everything. Friday, I'm gonna organize all my appointments for Saturday. Saturday, I'm gonna show all day. Sunday, I'm gonna show all day. Hopefully get a tenant by Monday.
Yep.
So I'm like, all right, that's my priority. And, I'm not saying you can't work out, but if stuff gets in the way, I'm not compromising time to work on that project
Right.
to work out. That's my issue. If I have the time at 4 a.m., which I did today, no problem. Working out gets done. But if I don't,
Mhm.
the other areas suffer. So like, if I don't work out, I'm less strict on the diet, because I'm like, I didn't work out.
But
So
what
what's
about
the
you as a
point?
dad, though, in that situation?
So that's
like,
non-negotiable.
Right.
So like, that took priority over working out,
of course, 100%.
which is fine. And I'm not saying like I deserve a medal or something, but when you go through it, yeah. But it's hard, because I'm like, all right, so if I don't work out at 4 and I work out at 9, then I'm getting calls for work. I'm not 100% here anyway.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what I got to do next. It's just like way more stressful to work out at 9, although I was able to do it when I was less busy,
Right.
in the past winter months.
Mhm.
So it's just like, it's not frustrating. It's more draining to keep trying to implement things,
Yep.
and everything's changing constantly.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. I have I guess a couple workplace, environment situations that hopefully, somebody can apply. But, we have.
Is there one for me? I just vented to you all my problems. You got any solutions?
You got any solutions? We've made extreme change in the organization that I'm in. We've advanced many things through, not only our process, our procedures, our operations in general. But, there was a time frame, and CV knows this well, where our organization, has a lot of full-time employees, but 3 specific large programs were actually outsourced by the town for whatever reason. They were kind of outsourced in like, looked at as like, oh yeah, these other people run it, but they run it in all our facilities, which like kind of over time when, I came into the picture, I'm like, this doesn't really make sense to me. Like we're taking an easy way out because you have full-time employees that really aren't, working, and these other programs, activities, services, whatever they are, they're doing okay, but we have no say in it. So like the revenue that comes in, we're just okay accepting X dollars, right? But really the town is actually paying somebody to run these other programs, right? So we had to change the actual focus and try to convince everybody that, listen, us taking these services back on internally is actually going to be beneficial for us all in the long run, right? I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. I actually had a walkthrough of one of our facilities where we are looking at safety measures, and specifically in terms of like mass shootings, dangerous scenarios that happen, right? We're very vulnerable. We don't have ballistic doors. Our facility is, one of them is 50 years old. So we're constantly going around the town trying to evaluate certain things. So I did a walkthrough with a surveillance company, trying to figure out ways. And there's a couple specific things that we were looking at. You have different options. You have what's called a not a siren, but it's a light. What's a light that? A strobe light, right? So in schools now, in a lot of schools, they're putting these strobes in like corners of classrooms. They're putting strobes in corners of exit signs, stairwells, hallways, because it's very hard with a old building to implement a brand new PA system, say lockdown, lockdown, lockdown. And not that it's hard physically, but it's hard with money.
Yeah.
Right? It's a financial burden.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a political game because you can press the town leadership and say, well, listen, you need to put $300,000 worth, and that's a tough decision for them to make because if they shut it down and then somebody, there's a mass shooting, then it's like, well, we kind of presented it to you. So it's an ugly game. So we tried to like look at different solutions. So one of them being this these strobe lights. And basically what it is, it's a much cheaper way that everybody in the building can kind of see what's going on. Somebody at the front desk has access to hit this strobe, and then in every area it's kind of going off. But this is like now
a silent alarm.
It's a silent alarm,
right.
but to notify everybody, oh wow, this is lockdown, right? The blue light goes off, boom, 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 boom. But this is a conversation of sustainability over time, right? Like my job is I'm not going to be there forever, but my job is to implement change that is sustainable over time, right? So those are the types of conversations that we're having. But I think one of the biggest things is educating all levels of your team to understand the value of the change and then embracing it as a leader with confidence, right? So when you're having these meetings, we're going through a financial crisis pretty much in the town. That's a very big potential for us, where some tax dollars is going to come out. But it's very important that I take the leadership role with confidence, teach everybody about it before the actual change gets implemented. So then hopefully we have procedures over time that can remain in place. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I know it's very specific work examples.
Yeah.
And then I think I had wrote this down, and it says, don't let the process outweigh the outcomes. And this is big because in a situation where we were trying to take over certain programs, as soon as something goes south, you have your old school players like, you see, this isn't going to work. All the naysayers are against you. So how do you combat that? Right? What I did, you get pow. So, what I did specifically is you actually rally basically what's called like an internal, your internal ambassadors, to where you're like, yo, CV, listen, this is the plan. Yo, Mike, this is the plan. We're going with this change. This is going to happen. But now we have to all be on the same page to hopefully get everybody else to buy in. And that really works. And it works in a large organization. And I'd say over the past, 7-8 years, almost 9 years now, right? CV that we've been there.
Jesus.
We have a lot of buy-in from everybody. But that education piece and being transparent is really big to make sustainable change over a long period of time. I know I just chewed your fucking ears off.
No, it all makes sense. The implementation of everything is where it gets tricky.
Yep, absolutely.
But everything you're saying makes a lot of sense. I always come back to kind of like the strobe example reminds me of like, all right, well, what's the most viable, least effort, least cost type of thing? whether it's cost of money, cost of time, cost of mental bandwidth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the easiest step that you can implement, and it can at least last. Maybe it's not the perfect solution, but it is a solution.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. But that's a tough scenario because everybody sees the value in that.
Yeah.
100%. But when you're strapped as a local municipality financially,
Yeah.
you know, you're shelling out hundreds of thousands of dollars on a system that's based on like prevention, pretty much. Like it's not guaranteed to happen. So now it becomes it's tough to make that decision, or it's tough to shoot it down. You know.
So if we compare my me as my own little government,
Mm-hmm.
the struggle of the budget and where
Yes.
money goes and my mental capacity goes is always the struggle.
Yes.
Because I'm like, I think if I got a weight vest, because I like to spark some excitement with a new toy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not a negative because like it all still is in my gym.
Right.
It just was purchased at different times. You know, I got a treadmill, all that stuff,
Yep.
and I enjoy it. But then I'm like, I really don't want to spend any money because I'm starting the company.
Right.
And then I'm like, I should buy some more protein. I always have protein on hand. But then I'm like, it's $50. And then I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, it's money, or
Mhm.
it's going to take me time to food prep. I'd rather be sending emails.
Yes.
It's that constant struggle, which I'm sure a lot of people struggle with, where I go through phases
Mhm.
where business is really good. I got the extra cash. I'm throwing money at it, throwing money at my problems, and I'm getting stuff done. You know, I'm buying things at GNC just to, you know, whatever, stay above it. But then when you go through phases of a famine, you have to like readjust, and then you get frustrated because you're like, I know I need, you know, creatine, but I'm like, I don't want to spend $50. I'd rather put it into the business.
Mm-hmm.
That's
that.
my problem, is that sometimes I get too into like I need all the bells and whistles.
Well, it sounds like priority levels, you know, and I think that's where the clarity piece comes in. Like you have to be so locked into your preparation, you know, your clarity of what it is that's most important at that time. But I would still be trying to build these other little components of your life along the way.
Yeah.
But there has to be the priority level.
Yeah.
Like you know what's most important. And if you are attacking that, I just
Yeah.
think that we spend too much time doing this,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is thinking about the situations, when if you just identify, this is the most, you know, when it comes to 100% of the
So
pie,
it's not, right?
what's the priority?
That's the problem.
You know?
Priority's not like to survive. I need to sell real estate and like not spend money, like I talked in the last one. So the priority's not to, you know, it's not top priority,
Mhm.
because if this isn't successful, everything else fails, right? Because if I am not successful in the business, I'm not gonna have money to buy food. So it's like, all right, this is priority. And this is an extreme circumstance because we went through all these projects of renovations and all this stuff. So like it's not forever,
Yep.
but in the short term it's frustrating because I know I should be doing these other things, but it's not priority now, which is hard
Yes.
because because the majority of people don't see the internal struggle that you have
Mhm.
and like your strategy, and they just think it's a lack of discipline, when in reality it's like it's not really lack of discipline. I'm so disciplined on this one thing that I need to work, so I'm putting all my energy into that, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
At certain points.
Yeah, and I know you feel the same way, but I think both of our priorities right now at this time, you know, are to make sure that, you know, at some level your children are safe,
Yeah.
healthy, happy.
Yeah.
Right? That's always the main priority. Now, again, throughout your day, there's only certain time frames that we have with our kids. It's not like an all-day thing, right?
Yep.
So once you knock that out and you're able to spend the morning with Libby
it's
and
the
G,
best.
you know what I mean? It's
much better.
It is the best. But now you've knocked that off where you're like, I feel guilty at times with Callie when I'm like locked into something on the computer, or if I'm on a Zoom call and she's like nagging at my leg or something, and I feel like I'm neglecting her.
Yeah.
Right? That's a struggle. But I build time into my day to make sure at some point I am direct for her, available to her. And I know you do the same thing.
So yeah, so all this stuff is stuff I try to implement, but the reality of business and the reality of the real estate market now is like when there's a highest and best due at 5 p.m. and the kids are screaming in my ear, I'm on the phone.
Right.
And it's like I can't say, hey, I'll call you in an hour. So like in theory, a lot of this stuff is helpful,
Mhm.
but there's just things I can't do
Yes.
where you just have to like grit your teeth and do it. And that dichotomy of it is so hard because I'm like, I'm working so hard to spend time with my family. But if I don't, you know, sacrifice a little time, a little here and there, you know, no one's going to be safe,
Right?
Because I'm, a part of the funding, so that they can go daycare.
If I don't sell real estate, you can't wear clothes.
100%.
You're gonna freeze because there's no heat in the house.
This is 100% transparent. I haven't bought new clothes other than suits and business clothes in probably 10 years.
Yeah.
I get gifted stuff. These are shoes that Frank and Alyssa gave me. These pants Dana bought me. Like, I will not go out and invest in clothes before trying to invest in companies and stuff, because I am so like locked in on like watching every penny because of the situation. I'm not saying we got put in this by something else. Like, this was a decision,
Of course.
but the bandwidth it takes to be like, damn, like, we need to build this back up. I'm okay with saying, all right, if we don't sleep, I can't get up at 4. I'm not going to ruin my mental capacity for the business. Like, priority right now is mental capacity.
Yep.
Physical helps that 100%. If I could wake up at 4 and do the workouts, and there's enough things go right where I can do that, I want to do it, but I'm not beating myself up. I am frustrated a little bit by it, but I'm not beating myself up anymore, because I realize it's not forever. And it's a temporary time in my life where I hopefully don't have to get back here.
Yep.
But it is a struggle, because all this long-lasting change that you really thought you really made a huge dent, like, falls at the wayside. You're like, damn, like, am I going to be able to pick it up? It's the only thing I can compare it to is like when someone gets injured playing basketball and then they come back and they're like, am I the same? Am I going to be the same skilled athlete?
Yep.
No,
it makes sense. I mean, your situation, I think, is a little unique because you're building out a brand new business, and a temporary season for you might look like 6 to 12 months.
So, and again, this isn't like woe is me thing. I'm just trying to explain the reality of like anyone in the sales role or like real estate, the last 3 years have been multiple offers on everything. If you see a property, you got to put an offer in right away. Everything's now. Whereas when my first 7 years in the business, you could have that balance. You could say, all right, I'll get there tomorrow. Whereas now you drop everything, you go do it, and then it doesn't wait. So it's like, all right, well, I'll answer the call in 15 minutes. I'm giving the girls a bath with Dana. Like, I'm going to sneak out. I'll talk to you. The mental capacity to jump in between all this with like 2 kids under 3 is insane.
Yes.
And I told Dana a couple times, I'm like, I would never tell anyone, if you're starting in real estate or even established to a certain extent,
have kids
in this market.
Like, never tell anybody to have kids.
No, but I didn't know this was coming.
Right.
Who knew COVID was coming? Who knew the market was going to rip like this? I know it's all good, but while you're going through it, you're like, damn, this is mentally so hard.
Right.
Yeah.
One I guess concept though that I constantly try to beat into my head, and I know we all do the same, and we've heard it many times, but it really comes down to the simple, like, you are the example. So you have to act like one, right? Like in business, your staff, your team will never change if you're just operating business as usual. You have to model the behavior every step of the way. Through the good times, through the bad times, doesn't matter. There are going to be seasons where it's up and it's down, but you still have to show that you have the ability, whether it's for yourself or for your team or for your family, to be the actual example of the behavior that you're trying to implement to sustain that change over time, right? Like, if you don't do that, I don't know why you would expect your employees or your family even to take you seriously. And it's a harsh thought to think about, but that's something that I constantly like beat into myself when I'm getting frustrated and Callie's around me and I want to flip out. Like, yo, you're the example. Like, you're the example. Is that what you want her to see?
Yeah.
Is that what you want her to see?
Yeah.
And it's a constant reminder all the time. Like, if you're overweight and you're about to eat something that you're not supposed to be eating at that time, right? Of course, you schedule your cheat meals, but like, you're the example. Is that what you want to be?
Yeah.
Or do you want to wait until you get forced by a doctor to be like, here you go, man. You need to change your life because you got stage 3 cancer, God forbid.
Jesus Christ.
No, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are the scenarios that then all of us, 100% of us Americans, will be like, oh yeah, I want to change now. I have to change. Why can't we foresee that? Right?
Yeah.
It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But
it's all true. Yeah. It's just difficult. It's very difficult.
It is. I got to keep us on track here. So this will bring us to my favorite section, Dave's Dime of the Week.
I'd say it's probably my favorite as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think
I just like that I don't have to say anything at the end because I struggle with the quotes.
Yeah, right.
You cut me off. Oh, it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah. This one is nice and short. Actually, got you. You thought it was gonna be long. Did you think it was gonna be long?
Short for you? Ooh, how about the whistle?
No, that was good.
Short. What the fuck? Do you have something on my microphone? Short for you or short for the average person? Because you know my short's like 3 words.
This might be like 5.
Okay.
So we're here. All right. And it goes like this: all great changes
You're counting the words.
are preceded by chaos.
7 words. All
great changes are preceded by chaos.
What if chaos never ends?
Your whole life is chaos
That's
right
what I'm
now,
saying.
right?
It never ends.
But the great change is coming. I am here. Dave Osteen is here to tell you that great change is coming.
Do you
Because
scream in your car when you're driving?
Yes.
You do?
Because I'm telling you, man, like this, it depends on your personal chaos, right? But we all go through chaos in our lives.
Yeah.
And it's the level of the chaos that then eventually forces us at one point or another. Hopefully it's not a dramatic change.
Yeah. And
You know?
just so people know, it's not like I'm upset. I'm just have a puzzle on the table.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out how the pieces fit together.
Right.
But I keep trying.
Yes.
You know, you keep putting things here, there, yeah. And you're like, it doesn't look right. And
Right.
you keep doing it. And you're like, that's not it.
That's not it.
That might be the
That's-
new word. That might
that's
be
it.
our new
I like the
tagline. No snooze. That's not
That's
it.
not it.
Listen, if you made it this far, nosnoozeshop.com.
Bang,
Grab your
bang.
merchy merch.
Listen, if you've listened to 1 or 144, there's a lot.
It's a lot of episodes. There's a lot.
We thank you. And we listen, I just sent a hat to somebody for sending that DM in. So let's give away a t-shirt this time.
And listen,
All
you're
right?
in charge these days.
So if you made
whatever the
it,
hell
so if you
wanna
made it
do.
this far and you want a t-shirt, send a DM, say I want the t-shirt.
Can we
We'll
get
pull
it?
them together, pick a rando and send it. What? Can you talk into the microphone, CV? Come on, man.
Wow.
CV's switching it up. Sorry, it's not going to be that easy. CV's got he's making it difficult for
Are
you
you
guys.
going to sign the shirt? Send it?
Yeah, go ahead.
What if we did like send an idea for a topic,
Okay.
and the best topic gets the
I like
shirt.
that.
Yeah.
I like that. Send a topic idea.
I think
We'll send you a
someone
shirt.
should send a video of them benching 333 pounds because it's like inconvenient to
The
do,
big
you know?
330.
Yeah.
333.
Like trying
on
to
the
do the
bench.
math. I'm like,
Yeah,
all right, what
yeah.
do I hang here? Just chickens.
Oh, man. All right. Another good one in the books. Guys, we thank you as always. Until next time, stop snoozing
Get up and get after it.
and go change your damn life, all right? Stop being soft.
And ask yourself, is that it? Because it's probably not.
That's not it.
That's another Epi in the books. Go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at No Snooze Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze.